Hey guys, let's talk about the biggest challenge for woodworkers and how you can actually go ahead and solve it. So first of all, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Anders and I'm fortunate enough to be working with Olaf and Phil on this project where we're really trying to help more makers make a better living from their craft. So over these past 6 months, we have interacted, engaged, spoken to probably a couple of thousand makers. And it's given us a lot of data and feedback on just what is the biggest challenge for makers. And it's been very, very clear for us that the biggest challenge isn't getting enough customers, and more specifically, getting enough of the right customers. So the people that see the value in the work that you do, they appreciate the effort that goes into it, and they're willing to pay a premium price for it. And it's also very clear that the reason people really struggle, or makers struggle getting enough customers, is that it's a marketing issue for them. They just don't know how to reach the right people for them. They don't know how to market their work. They don't know how to showcase it. And to some extent, it's actually pretty understandable because no one teaches you how to do this. Like, you go to craft to learn, or you go to school to learn the craft. At least a lot of makers do that. And there's not really anyone to teach you the business side of things, how you market your work. So how do we actually go ahead and solve this? I've made like a diagram here with a bunch of different ways you could do it. There's probably a bunch of ways apart from this that you can do it as well. These are just the methods that we know work. We've used it ourselves. So let's dive into each of these just on a very, very top level. We're not going to go into how you do it. I just want to show you these different ones. So first one, organic social media. For those of you that don't know what organic social media is, this is, I brought a screenshot here from Olaf's Instagram, and all the posts you see on here, this is organic social media. It's natural growth. It's something that's organic. So you're not paying for any of this. And this is just when you post to your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever it might be. It's free to do. And you can actually have like a really big reach with this when you do it right. It's all about the kind of content you put on social media in order to get to be able to reach a lot of people doing this. And I put a crown on it because we consider this as king in a way, because it's the foundation for everything that we do. When we work with makers, we base everything off a solid foundation in organic social media. Then we can add other methods on top of that. But that's the key for us. Paid social media, that's the next one. And this is just where you pay to reach the right people on these platforms as well. So it could be Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, whatever it might be. I brought a screenshot here from, I think this is a reel from Instagram. So you can see it says sponsored down here in the bottom left. And yeah, this is probably some kind of furniture company, it looks like. And they've paid to show this ad to us and probably to other people that the platform knows are interested in furniture as well. So the cool thing about these paid social media campaigns and what you can do with it is that it's very, very targeted. Like the platforms, they have so much data on all of us, and the algorithms know exactly who to show the different sort of products and services, whatever you sell to. So it's really good for that. One thing is that it is, of course, it costs money, and it's, you can do it on like whatever budget you want to do. It's like some people are spending all the way down to like $5 a day, $10 a day. And some people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a day on this. So it's a very flexible system. Another one is collabs with relevant people. So for this case, I've brought a picture from a Danish brand called Setter Copenhagen. They do like cup mugs. And this is a post where they did a collab with some kind of influencer, or at least a person that they considered to be someone that had an audience that was suited for them. So this creator probably had an audience of like more than 100,000. And the reason that this is like a good thing to do for the brand is that when you find these creators, influencers, relevant people that have the right audiences, you can basically just place your work in front of the right people, and it comes from someone that the audience trusts. So they already trust that person. They trust the creator, the influencer. And when they then showcase your work, it's like, it's a big plus for them. And the thing about these though is that it's most of the time it's pretty expensive to do. At least if you want to do it with bigger creators. I think there's actually like in the past couple of years, smaller creators have started to become much more popular because they're just more connected to their audience often. And, even doing this with a person on Instagram, let's say that has like 10,000 followers, like if they have 10,000 of the right followers, people that are completely relevant to what you sell, it's a pretty good deal. It can be a lot of the time. And some of the time you can even get away with not spending a bunch of money of this if you could just find someone that is really in love with the work that you do. So let's say you're someone that's selling furniture and you find a creator, influencer, whatever it might be, that just really loves what you do. You could maybe get away with just giving them some product in some kind of way or some kind of cool deal for them. So yeah, but most of the time it's pretty expensive. Next one, organic search. So really what this is, I put organic search SEO, by the way. SEO is short for search engine optimization. And I brought a screenshot here to show you guys what it is. So I put in custom furniture into Google. And when you search for that, there's obviously going to be a bunch of results that show up. The first ones are often, they have this sponsored badge on them. And that's because people pay to be in these spots. But these ones don't do it. So the first ones that show up like this are completely organic. It's natural. They don't pay to be here. They're in this spot because they have really good SEO. They rank well for this keyword. The cool thing about being able to do this and why it's actually really effective, if you're able to do this, it's quite difficult because we all want to be in this number one spot for the right keywords. The reason that it's really cool is that you are not having to create demand, like you capture demand instead, because the people that go in and type in custom furniture, they're already looking for custom furniture in some kind of way. They're already interested. You don't have to convince them as much as you would otherwise. A thing to show about this is that this is like a Google Organic CTR breakdown by position. CTR means click-through rate. So that's just how many percent that click through when they see it. And I don't remember the business it's done by, but a pretty established business that do a lot of this here in Denmark, I think. And they, as you can see on these numbers, the website that's ranked number one, which would in this case be this one, customfurniture.dk, they get 27.6 of the clicks. The number two, which in this case will be this one, they get 15.8%. And then it goes down all the way down to 10, which is, I think 10 is like the last on page one, and they only get 2.4%. So there's a huge difference between number one and number 10. And you can imagine when you go to page 4, 5, like how low the number is going to be. It's going to be pretty much non-existent. So, and you can even think of it yourself. Like, when have you ever gone to page 4 or 5 to find what you were looking for? It's probably not very often because we're just too impatient to do that. So it's really important to be in the sort of top bunch of the search results. You can see, some quick math in this, like almost 50% goes to, no, more than 50% actually, I think. What's that? Around 50% go to the top 3. So it's really important that you get to that point or at least strive to get to that point for the right keywords for you. Another one is paid search. And paid search is just like I showed up here. We have the sponsored ones that show up first. That's the paid ones. So this is people that pay to be in this spot. For this same search, custom furniture. Oh, and by the way, one thing I want to mention as well is this is also going to vary based on where you are. So I'm in Denmark, so it's obviously going to be Danish businesses that show up here. If you're in Germany, it's going to be different businesses that show up when you type in custom furniture, whatever the word is in German. And probably like if it's a big country like Germany, not even if it's a big country, it's going to be different results based on where you are in the country. So if I'm searching for this, like in the northern part of Denmark, it might be something different that shows up compared to if I'm searching for this in Copenhagen in Denmark. So location plays into it as well. Anyways, paid search. Yeah, so these are people that pay to be in these spots. This is really what's called Google Ads. And yeah, you can get the top spots for sponsored if you're willing to pay for it. Another one is, and that's more traditional classic one, is referrals. So I don't like doing actual like referral programs, models, systems, or anything like that for as a woodworking business. I just don't think it suits this kind of business. So that's not something I'm a big fan of. I do think the best thing you can do to just really get yourself a higher chance of getting referrals is just have a great product and have an amazing customer experience. So if you can really over deliver on those two, especially the customer experience, then you're going to be better off. You're going to have happier customers, and it's going to give you a higher chance of referrals. And in terms of like how you can over deliver, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Of course, the product needs to be really, really good. That's the first thing, especially if people are paying a lot of money for it, obviously. Second of all, with the customer experience, it could be small, subtle things like making maybe like a handwritten note for every purchase. It could be just other things that make it feel really special and personal for them. And it just feels like an amazing experience when they're doing business with you. Another one is partnerships. And there's a bunch of different partnerships you can do. One of the things you can do is local interior designers and architects. So partnering up with these people, and they can then send work your way, and you can maybe even send work their way as well if it works in that kind of way. For these kind of deals, I've seen them being set up in different ways. Some people or some interior designers, architects, they don't take a cut of the work they send you because it just makes their service better as well. And then there's also some cases where they do take a cut or a little commission. But this is a really good way, especially to get more of those high-end clients, because those are the ones that go to interior designers and that go to like expensive architects and so on. Another one, stores and galleries. And it's not one we personally like using that much, or not at all, to be honest. And it is so because it is heavy in profits. Stores typically charge like 40-50% of the price. So let's say that you're selling a piece at $2,000, then they're going to charge you $800-$1,000 for that if you want to sell it through their store. But there is, of course, also a plus for it because it's less headache for you. Like, you don't have to worry as much about marketing and getting traffic, because there's going to be people in the store, especially if you're in a good store. It's going to be a bunch of the right people that go by. And the stores oftentimes also going to do a lot of marketing for you, and they're just going to naturally get more people in front of your work. And I also put it can be good for branding. Like, I think we even work with a maker that's specifically in a store, not because it's good business, but because it's really good for its brand. Like, it's a very high-end store, and being in that store just gives you like a credibility stamp almost. And then I put traditional methods. So this is another one, and it is really like, it could be magazines. Like, let's say, and I think the key to this is really knowing who is your audience, who is your target customer. If your target customer is younger people, let's say it could be couples that are around 30 years old, then magazines is probably not the best thing. But if you're targeting older people, could be a good thing. So it's very dependent on who your customer is, but magazines is a good play. It could be local press, like if there's opportunities for that in your area. I'm not sure there is. It could be exhibiting in the right locations. An example of that could be, and this is not for, because I put expos and events under, so it's not expos and events I mean here. It's more like, let's say that you're a furniture business like the one I showed in the previous example, the Danish one, where you're selling a lot of cup mugs. Well, then it might be a good idea if you could go ahead and get your cup mugs into stores that maybe sell a lot of ceramic cups, because the people that go in and buy ceramic cups, they are probably also a lot of the ones that are going to buy cup mugs for their ceramic cups. So if you could go in to these locations and just get your pieces like maybe some stores, maybe they just want to do it because it's really nice interior to have in their store. Maybe someone wants to do it for some kind of deal. You can figure out how to do it, but I found that a lot of stores, they want to do it because it looks great in their store. It could also be like, let's say your audience, they go a lot to a specific cafe or restaurant or whatever it might be. That could also be a good place to do it. Then I put expos and events as well, because, let's say your audience, they go a lot to specific events. Like there's an example, let's say in Denmark, we have like quite a bit of different sort of expos, events for just where there's a lot of visitors that come by and a lot of different stands with furniture and so on. And final one, platforms. And for these, I've put a picture of First Dibs and Etsy. So two pretty different ones. Etsy is more like a price-friendly one. Like it's not as expensive on Etsy, where First Dibs is like very expensive stuff. But platforms, we don't really use it. I know Olaf uses First Dibs a little bit because he's like more on the high end side with price. And I know both Olaf and Phil, they've used Etsy before, and I think maybe Phil even do it a little bit to this day. But these are, a little bit like with organic search. The people that go on these platforms, they go there because they're looking for something specific. And if you have that and you're on this platform, then you're getting that free exposure, or not free exposure, you're getting that exposure to people. So that's another way of doing it. The thing about it is that it's pretty hard to sort of maybe stand out in a way. You can't really build a brand. Like if you're just using Etsy, it's pretty difficult to use or to build up a brand over time that's going to last down the line and really go into something more than just being an Etsy store. So it's probably one of those. It's good for, like, at least for Etsy, it's good if you're starting out, but not like a long-term solution. These are the different methods, and they all point down to this point that I put here, which is all of this really depends on you knowing your customer. You need to be where your audience is. So, if you're trying to reach, as we talked about before, if you're trying to reach high net worth 60-year-olds, then going ahead and using organic social media on TikTok and paid social media on TikTok, that's probably not going to give you anything. But let's say these people, they go in specific restaurants, they go in cafes, they come in these special stores, then exhibiting in the right locations could be a good thing for you. On the other hand, if, it's vice versa the other way. So if you're trying to reach younger people, with some kind of, it could be unique designs, maybe a design that speaks more to them, then using more of these methods, organic social media, paid social media, might be a better thing. So it's really all about knowing your customer. And then once you know your customer, you can understand their behavior, and then you can be where your audience is, which is really all that matters. So I think that's all I wanted to cover in this video. If you want to dive more into these methods specifically, let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions for any of this stuff, you can either put it in the comments or you can write us on Oddformula on Instagram, and then Olaf will get back to you. So that's it for this one.